According to a Russian lawmaker, the Wagner Group's chief, Prigozhin, has been told that his mercenary group can no longer fight in Ukraine. Remember, this could severely impact the current status of war as far as Russia and Ukraine are concerned. This simply because Prigozhin reportedly declined to sign contracts which the Wagner chief believes would bring his mercenaries under the sway of Russia's defense ministry. According to Colonel General Andrei Kartapolov, it was this demand by Russia's defense ministry which triggered Saturday's mutiny by the Wagner Group. Now, Colonel Kartapolov is an influential lawmaker who chairs the lower house of Parliament's Defense Committee. Kartapolov has said that after Prigozhin's refusal to sign the contracts, Prigozhin had been told that his mercenaries would no longer fight in Ukraine, and that means they would not receive any state money. At the same time, important to inform you that the Wagner Group is currently stationed in Belarus, and that includes their chief Prigozhin as well.
A few days before the attempted mutiny, the defense minister said that all the formations performing combat tasks must sign contracts with the defense ministry. Everyone started to implement this decision. Everyone except Mr. Yevgeny Prigozhin. Then he was informed that in this case, the Wagner Group would not be engaged in special military operation. That said, no funds would be allocated as well as material resources. This is the main thing for Mr. Prigozhin. Of course, what has taken place in Russia will also play a role. It shows once again that it is simply irresponsible to put military force in private hands. That is threatening. And what the Wagner mercenaries have done in Ukraine war, what they are doing in Africa and many other places in the world, is irresponsible and unforgivable. And there are many crimes involved. But it also threatens the stability of a country, like Russia, for example, which we saw happen.
One of Russia's top generals who allegedly supported last weekend's short-lived rebellion has not been seen in public since Saturday. General Sergei Surovikin, pictured here with President Vladimir Putin, is the deputy commander of Russia's military operations in Ukraine. According to US officials, Surovikin had been sympathetic to the weekend rebellion, but Western intelligence did not know with certainty if he had helped it in any way. A report in the Moscow Times suggests the general has now been arrested. Mercenary chief Yevgeny Prigozhin shocked the world on Saturday when he launched an armed revolt, bringing his Wagner Group fighters to within 125 miles of Moscow before abruptly calling off the uprising. As the rebellion began, Surovikin posted a video on the Telegram messaging app, urging the Wagner fighters to return to their bases as his right hand rested on his rifle. A New York Times report said on Tuesday he had advanced knowledge of the mutiny and that Russian authorities were checking if he was complicit. When asked about the report, the Kremlin said there was and would be a lot of speculation and gossip.
How will this decision impact the war? Let's try and get in a sense of perspective. And for that, let me introduce Bishop Garrison, who is the Vice President for Policy at the Intelligence and National Security Alliance. Many thanks to you, Bishop, for joining in. Now, when we try and delve deeper into why this decision to pull out of Ukraine was taken by the Russian Defense Ministry, contrary to some reports which are indicating that it was Wagner's decision to pull out of Ukraine. But let's not forget that the trigger was the fact that Prigozhin refused to sign the defense contracts. I want to know, why was A, he being pressurized into signing that contract? B, why did he decline to sign that contract?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And I think the questions that you're asking hit the nail right on the head. The world wants to know. What we're hearing is just complete discombobulation coming out of Russia at this point. You have to really wonder and ask if what control Vladimir Putin truly has over the situation right now. Secondly, it would seem or it would appear that Russia is dealing with some type of potential financial issue as it relates to the war, their invasion there. And there were concerns about whether or not the Wagner Group would actually properly be paid. So that's where the contract issues come from. To some degree, you have to wonder, we have to believe that the sanctions that Russia has been experiencing across the board from both the United States and from our European allies and allies across the world are taking effect. So you're beginning to see this administration, Putin's regime, just be completely befuddled by what's happening to them, as they should be. They should never have gone into Ukraine and violated its sovereignty, and this is what they're reaping because of that decision.
Right. Bishop, how will this decision now impact the war, that too at a time when Ukraine has already made further gains as Wagner troops marched on Moscow last Saturday?
Yes, I'm sorry. Is the question? You kind of went out there.
Bishop, I'm asking about this decision to withdraw out of Ukraine. How will this now impact the status of war? Because we already know that Ukraine is forging ahead with its counteroffensive, that too at a time when the mutiny has disrupted politics within Russia itself.
Absolutely. It's going to have some type of effect. Now, it remains to be seen what the exact effect of operations in Ukraine end up being from this. But the Wagner, if anyone is having any type of effectiveness on the Russian side within that country, it was a part of the Wagner group. Now, considering they were using absolutely heinous human rights violations that have been reported throughout the country in their activities, we should all be thankful that they are now going to be leaving Ukraine, but it still remains to be seen the exact effects and implications that their withdrawal is going to have. One would believe, or that there is reason at least to believe that it's going to have a negative impact on the Russian army's ability to actually project any type of significant damage or continued effects, at least from a ground assault perspective, on the Ukrainian army.
Bishop, we are all aware that the Wagner chief Prigozhin is currently in Belarus. But at the same time, what nobody has answers to is the future of this mercenary group. What is the future like, not just for the Wagner group, but also for Prigozhin?
Well, one would hope, at least from a Wagner Group perspective, that this could be the beginning of the end. They've continually had activities across the globe, particularly on the African continent, and they have a horrible reputation in the way that they carry out these types of activities. Hired guns. They're a mercenary group that is looking to get the job done by any means necessary, and they do not carry themselves considerably or enter into their operations with regard to the laws of land warfare or respect traditionally for what we've considered within armed conflicts in terms of operations to protect individual human rights and individual civil rights. So one would think and one would begin to hope that this is the beginning of the end in terms of General Prigozhin. We simply do not know. Vladimir Putin has a reputation for not taking light to betrayals or to disloyalty. And this is exactly what we've seen in this situation. So one would have to believe that he's going to see some type of ramifications from these actions, but still, I think it's a little early to speculate on something.
Right, because that's exactly what I want to know. What are the possibilities that Belarus may not want to capitalize on Wagner's Africa operations? Many are also posing the possibility that Belarus may try and capitalize from Prigozhin's Africa connections, and it may perhaps give Belarus an advantage when it comes to its own dealings with Beijing.
Well, Belarus may be looking to take advantage of the situation. There's, as many say, there's always opportunity in chaos, and Belarus may believe that this is the situation for them to absolutely capitalize on. But again, I think they're going to be wary of the second and third tier ramifications that could mean for them politically, what it could mean domestically, what it could mean internationally in terms of one of their top allies for quite some time, Vladimir Putin, and what it would mean for them if they were to now ally themselves with Prigozhin and with Wagner Group. So none of it is without risk. It's just a question of what they're willing to risk and how much they believe they can actually gain from it. And it's going to take some time for us to see how this plays out.